Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today, we are going to talk about the apparent news that there is U.S. personnel in Ukraine. This is information that just surfaced, and it has surprised a lot of people. It has led to a number of messages sent to me saying that any self-respecting journalist, any commentator who didn't talk about that fact first wasn't worth anything. And how me not talking about it was obviously playing into, NATO and just supporting, rampant militarism and all of that stuff. So we will talk about those troops today. Again, I want you to picture a world where, let's say, 5 or 6 months ago, Russia and people who are of like minds in the U.S. Congress, they created an outrage of the day where they were super worried that U.S. equipment being provided to Ukraine wasn't going to be used on the battlefield, but was going to be siphoned off and end up in some shady gray market. They were super concerned about this. They got really mad. And that in response to that, even though there was no evidence at the time, somebody made a video, let's say hypothetically speaking, on November 1st, 2022, that said there would be a special group of people who would know how the weapons worked and how to train, special forces, and they would be attached to the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, and they would be working for the Defense Attaché's office there. They would be nowhere near the fighting, though, but they would be there to make sure that stuff was used properly. And in that video, that is incredibly sarcastic in this fictional world that totally didn't happen, in that video, the person who made it went out of their way to say, when this is discovered years from now, because the person who made the video didn't expect a leak, it's important to remember that the people who are going to complain about it are the people who made it happen. I haven't covered it because I already covered it. More than 5 months ago, put out a video detailing exactly what was revealed. It's worth noting that the last comment on that video is, "This is the absolute worst commentary on this. I wouldn't listen to this dude for his take on anything." 4 weeks later. I'll put the video down below, but the name of it is, Let's Talk About U.S. Personnel in Ukraine. Now, just to clarify the situation, in the leaks, there's evidence of special forces working in Ukraine. Let's hear what NSC spokesperson Kirby has to say about it. I won't talk to the specifics of numbers and that kind of thing, but to get to your exact question, there is a small U.S. military presence at the embassy in conjunction with the Defense Attaché's office to help us work on accountability of the material that is going in and out of Ukraine. So they're attached to that embassy and to that Defense Attaché. They're nowhere near the battlefield. I already covered this. It was in a super sarcastic manner because there wasn't any evidence of it at the time. But when you create an outrage of the day, like they did, that's the only possible response. Now, are these people who were sent there, are they only checking the equipment and making sure that everything's done? Officially, yes. But I want you to think about the type of people who would volunteer and go on an assignment like that. They're probably providing some advice along with it. They're not fighting. Not this group. But as I have talked about in other videos, undoubtedly, there are people who recently separated from the U.S. military. They're no longer U.S. troops, and they're working for a contracting company there. That is absolutely happening. Again, there's no evidence of that, but it's occurring. As soon as the International Legion kind of formed up, it provided perfect cover for that. It's absolutely occurring. But, again, you're probably not going to find any evidence of that. Without this leak, the video from November 1st, 2022, it wouldn't have made any sense until after the war was over. It just would have seemed like an incredibly sarcastic piece of commentary. That was absolutely the worst commentary on it. It's important to remember that there are a whole lot of people who are in positions of authority who can help manufacture a narrative, like being surprised about this, who don't know how any of this stuff works and don't know how their statements, their public statements, end up shaping policy. The people who are super mad about this. In fact, there's one person who sits in the U.S. Congress who's kind of justifying the leak, saying, well, they told us about this. They told us about these troops, and we needed to know. They were one of the people who helped manufacture the outrage and created this situation to begin with. Now, realistically, my guess is that this was already happening before the manufactured outrage. Like in real life, it was actually occurring before then, but it was very secret. But once the outrage occurred, well, they had no choice. I think I said it was an inevitability that it was going to happen, and it did. When you're looking for reporting, if somebody isn't necessarily talking about something and it is right up their their area, maybe they already talked about it. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.